It's interesting. There's a lot of shenanigans going on in my house right now with the white kitten. He can sound like a whole army upstairs, like doing battle in my bedroom. So maybe they'll come in and make an appearance. Um, okay, so today I'm going to do a lot of Laban space included in this class, just to layer some of that in with. I know the people in my Zoom room have all done this a ton with me, and I feel like it's such a great tool to add to your toolbox of movement. So we're going to start just breathing in the vertical dimension, in the vertical plane, actually. So our vertical dimension would just be up and down. Vertical dimension, just up and down. Vertical plane, we add some side side. It is the door plane. Here I am in the door plane. So inhaling up, finding our up down as the dominant thing going on here, and then side side as the sort of secondary spatial pull. That's the way that we would talk about it in Laban. And if you're just here to exercise, don't worry about knowing any of this stuff. Inhale, open, find the vertical, and then exhale, release. Inhaling. As we're in this vertical dimension, reaching up and also equally connecting down to the floor with our feet. So there's an up and downness, and then opening out. Inhale through the plane, lengthen up into the dimension, and exhale. I feel like just opening up our lungs in this way with these arms, the wings of our lungs. It's like one of the most important things that we can do. And especially, I say this all the time, but as I see children who haven't had dance or movement classes and I ask them to raise their arms, they almost never really extend very far. So think about this as just getting into the extension of your whole body, reaching and opening, and then letting it go. And one more, we're going to inhale, open. This time we're going to change we're just going to shake out on the way down. Relax your face. Let it go. So free flow your body, shake it out, inviting any stuckness to free up. And let's take it into the horizontal plane. Horizontal plane is the table plane. So arms out there, sweeping off the big table, and I'm shifting my weight from side to side. There's so many ways that we can do this. We could stay stable in the middle and move the arms. We could shift onto the back leg. This is a little more Qigong version. I mean, all of it kind of is Qigong. When we distinguish, this is yoga, this is Qigong, this is this, really, it's all movement. And then the last way to do this is to go and pivot so that you're going to go to the front leg and spiral. It's not the last way. There's a million ways of doing this. We're just trying to find variety in our movement so that we cover all our bases as much as we can. And then we have the sagittal plane. So our horizontal plane is the side side with some front back, right? Horizontal dimension, we add some forward backward, which is sagittal, and we have the horizontal plane. The sagittal is we have forward backward like Sagittarius, but we add some up down and we have the sagittal plane, the wheel plane. So we're going to reach up, bend your knees, come down, let your arms swing back, bend your knees, scoop it out and up. Forward, down, and back, circling in the sagittal plane. Opening, taking it easy if you need to. So we're working, everybody's in a different place in every day in their body and also different than everybody else. So if you need to make this easier, softer, gentler, do it. If you need to make it more active, you can. So you could really get into it or make it easy. Work with what feels good to you today. Just need to shut some of these doors so that I am not yelling for the whole house to hear. But let's take it into the whole dimensional cross of axis. So the dimensional cross of axis, we're going to go up, down, we're going to cross and open, we're going to go backwards, forwards. We're going to get down the floor eventually, but let's just do a couple more standing things. So reaching high, reaching low in the vertical. Then we're going to step across, crossing over and opening wide in the horizontal dimension. Come back to center, take it back behind you, and then forward in the sagittal. Switching it to the other side, reaching high, place low, vertical. side across, side open, horizontal, backwards and forwards, sagittal. Again, on the first side, place high, place low, vertical dimension, side across. So a dimension is like a line versus a plane that's like a piece of paper or a planar thing. Sagittal, other side, up, down, vertical dimension, side across, side open, horizontal dimension, backwards and forwards, sagittal dimension. Just shake it out for a second. So when I'm talking about this, like this is the vertical, obviously we are three-dimensional beings. So this is just Laban language using that geometric idea to put into movement. All right, let's take it into a forward fold with your feet wide, shifting from side to side. Let your head and tail release. So we're working towards some free flow in the spine, letting our spinal cord, our head-tail connection, have some freedom. But what I'm feeling really here is the stretch in my hips and glutes and my butt and my legs as I shift from side to side. I just want to add the freedom in the spine so that nothing is getting calcified in my spinal cord, right? We're not slowly roll it up. We're not tightening into ourselves. And we're going to take it down. If you have a block, I'm showing you my block, which actually has cat spit on it now, because right before class, the little white kitten was attacking this block. Anyway, we're going to take it down to the floor, sitting on a block. If you don't have a block, it's okay to just be seated on the floor, or you can elevate your pelvis on a folded up towel, anything else that provides just a little bit of height to your butt. Yeah, I was in the city yesterday and took a ballet class, and now, of course, my hips are super tight. Internally rotate, and then externally rotate. Open, open. Exhale, hollow curl. Inhale, arch, and lift your heart, lift your chest. Exhale, not spiral, curl forward. Inhale, open it up. Exhale. Well, it is a spiral in your legs, so we're getting this internal rotation, that's an inner spiral, and then external rotation, that is an outer spiral. Folding in, opening it up. Exhale and inhale. So what's happening in a spinal, we're doing sagittal, but in our legs, it's more three-dimensional because we're moving around with that spiral. Often if we're spiraling, the movement will be more three-dimensional. All right, so let's actually spiral with our bodies, but we're going to add the arms. So we're going to open the arms, lifting into the vertical plane into vertical dimension, and then spiraling and twisting, looking around. I'm grabbing my block back here and my knee and taking a little deeper. Inhale, open, see the heavens. Exhale, or imagine them. Take it around to the other side. Inhale, open, heart, chest, lungs. From your fingertips down into your diaphragm, into your torso, and spiral. Inhale, open. Exhale. Yeah, so we want to make sure that our energy, our awareness is getting all the way out to these distal parts, our fingers and our toes, right? The furthest away from our heart, the furthest away from our spine are these parts of our body. So it's no wonder that they get cold or tingly or whatever. We're going to flex that right foot, or whichever foot it is for you. Might be your left, might be your right. You're going to inhale, spiral and arch. Exhale, hollow and curl. Inhale, spiral, arch. And you can push into this hand with your knee. And exhale, release and soften. Inhale, engage and open into the spiral. And exhale. And inhale, lengthening. So using the breath to lengthen. And then exhale. If we were doing a yoga version, we might be doing this with the exhale as we twist deeper. And we're really working for the twist. But in this, the way that we're doing it, we're working for the length and the spiral. So onto the other side, same thing, flex that foot. Inhale, you can push into your knee, into your hand with your knee. Arch, lift and open, and exhale, hollow and curl. Inhale, arch, lift, and open. Exhale, hollow and curl. Inhale, excuse me, arch, lift, and open. Exhale, hollow and curl. Inhale, lungs, chest, heart, spiraling, opening up. Exhale, hollow and curl. We're taking it down the front. So down the sagittal plane. And then we're going to shift from side to side, freeing up the spine. Head, tail, mobility. Yeah, maybe there's some popping and clicking in there. I just had one little adjustment there. And roll it up, coming all the way up. And let's come off of the block. And I want to just say something to forgive myself because I do this all the time. Sometimes I misspeak. I'll say the wrong thing. I'll say something anatomically wrong, or I'll say exhale, but I mean inhale. So this is what happens when you teach, like you're just blah, 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 blah the whole time. So sometimes the wrong word comes out. So please forgive me for that. I want to also add that when I'm taking someone else's course, I can be very judgmental about their words. And I'm like, oh, it's the thing that I do, right? We often are really annoyed by the stuff that we do. And I want to say, like, also, as I used to have a ballet teacher, and she'd forget her exercise, things would happen, and I would get so annoyed. And now I do all those things myself. So just be gentle with your perfectionism. Back of the hands towards each other. Inhale, open it up. Exhale. Inhale, open. Exhale. Inhale. Open it up. Exhale. Yeah, I can get really graspy around perfectionism with myself or with other people. Exhale. And it's nice to just go, you know what? It's okay. The thing's going to come out that needs to come out. People can deal with it. Exhale, spiraling through the horizontal plane, opening up. Exhale down. Inhale, open. So it might just be worth thinking about this in your own life, like your own perfectionism. If you're a mathematician and you're building buildings, then maybe you need to really be nitty-gritty in the detail. But if you're a general human, maybe you don't need to be that much of a perfectionist. But just noticing where it pops up. Good, I need to blow my nose. Let's take it all the way down to the floor. Yeah, I'm having allergies and I'm doing cold training just being in my own house because it's freezing in here. And I just don't want to turn on the heat because it's so expensive. So yeah, we're like holding out for as long as we can, which is one reason when I'm not exercising, I'm usually wearing like the bunny suit onesie or one of the other onesies with my robe on top of that because it's cold in my house. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. Use your breath. Inhale. So this movement again is through the sagittal plane. Exhale down the wheel plane. Anytime you're doing like movement that the right and left are doing the exact same thing, and there's forward, forward, backward into it with no side. There's no side movement. Both sides are moving evenly. Then you are in either the sagittal dimension or the sagittal plane, the wheel plane, right? I could go like this, still in the wheel plane. Let's just do that. Let's just move right into that. So you're going to stretch away and then let's pull it into a ball. Old school Pilates. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, exhale. Feel the relationship of your arms into your rotator cuff, into your shoulders. Use your breath. Open it up. Exhale, reaching it out. Exhale, two more. Open, close, last one. Open, close, and relax. Let your body just descend into the floor for a second. Maybe take a little wiggle. Free up your guts, free up your organs, free up your rib cage and lungs. Free up your neck, jaw, and tongue. Good to start noticing like, oh, where and how am I holding tension in my body Is there anything I can let go of? And shaking, moving, jiggling are a great way to let go of some of that stuff. Let's do knee drops from side to side. This is the massage that my hips need. From ballet class, yeah. So anytime we're like in ballet class, you're doing a ton of external rotation and it doesn't balance itself out. Like you never internally rotate. Well, almost never. You might do a turn in, turn out at the bar, but that is just like the warm up. It's not happening when you're dancing in the center. Let's take it across, letting it go a little deeper. So if you're doing any kind of like exercise that dominates one type of rotation or one dimension or anything like that in your body, you want to make sure that in your regular life you're balancing that out so the tissue in your body doesn't get like overly developed in one direction, right? So the fascia, the muscle fiber, all the stuff that creates our form, even the bone, if we're always in external rotation and we're not spending some time internally rotating and a good time parallel, we're going to end up with really tight uh, fascia and muscle fiber that's going one way. We want to always balance that out as three-dimensionally as we possibly can. All right, let's take the legs up off the floor, arms outside side, spiraling, head away from your knees if it feels good. Feel your arms wide, pressing into the floor. And if you can, and you want to, straighten your legs to the ceiling. If your back is hurting, turn your head in the same direction as your legs and make it smaller. So if spiraling and twisting is hurting, then make it easier. Don't go so far. We want to start to really listen into our bodies to distinguish whether pain is because we're stretching or pushing it or because we are injured, or like we want to know the no pain and the yes pain. Like if I'm sore and my muscles have been working, that's because I'm working. I want to like move through that and kind of work it out. But if I'm actually a muscle is like really torn, then you want to back off of that. Let's do some big circles with the legs, opening out and down. So coming up through the sagittal, opening wide and bringing it down. Up through the sagittal, really it's opening out through the horizontal. When I'm laying on the floor, it changes. I could be saying like horizontal, meaning side side in my body, or I could be saying horizontal, like the horizon line. So you need to know the key to how I'm talking. So as I come down to the floor, the only one I can really say usually is sagittal, because that will not actually change that much. As soon as you say something, you realize that that's not entirely true. All right, stretch it from side to side. Let that massage through your back. So I'm stretching out through compression and movement this tissue in my lower back and glutes by rolling across it, right? So the compression, my body weight against the floor, is going to hydrate tissue and be good for it, right? Sometimes if we don't have a whole lot of mobility, just rolling across an area, we can do this really gently, like where I'm not even moving my spine very much. There's no spiral. So if you have pain in your back, keeping your spine fairly stable without super contracting, but just rolling through your back can be really helpful. And I can decide what part of my back gets the most work. Like if I pull my knees in more, not the most work, the most massage, then it's going to be more here in the middle of my back. If I lower my knees down, I get more into my glutes and my sacrum, right? So you can feel into what part of my body do I need to work with. Let's take the legs up and just circle the wrists and ankles. Yeah, so as I'm circling my legs, I'm seeing my legs turn in and out, change direction. And I'm also noticing that in my perception, my left leg has a lot more freedom than my right leg. Shake it out, let it go. And then let's roll back and forth, rounding through your spine, massaging through your back. Take it into a plow if that feels good. You don't have to stay there, but you can at least get in there. And so if you're wondering, like for me, my shoulders and back get kind of tight. So if I do plow, I'm gonna just give some weight into that area. And if you're wondering how long should you stay there, listen to your body. Like, is it just a couple of breaths? Do you need to be there longer? It's going to be different on a different day. How cold is it? How hot are you? Our needs are going to be different all the time. So just notice into that. Ask your body. And I also want to say, like, I'm wearing one of these type of what are they called? Sports bras, right? It comes up over my shoulders. And when I wear these, it's got like the little whatever it is in the back, like a T like that. These mess up my shoulders. I can wear them a little bit, but mostly they mess with my neck. So just notice what your clothes are doing to your body. That's another thing. If I wear something that has a tight waist and cuts me off in my hips, like if it's squeezing and I have the muffin top, invariably my hips and my lower back will start hurting. So sometimes we think, oh, that's nothing, it's not going to do anything. Not true. You're affecting your fascia, you're affecting the fluidity of your body, even socks. Like I always cut off the top of my socks because I don't need that extra cutoff, right, to the flow of energy out to my foot. And you may think, oh, it's just a little bit. Our bodies are incredibly capable of understanding subtlety. While we may not be very good at that as humans, our body's taking that in. So even just the smallest amount of restriction can really be affecting flow of energy, flow of blood, flow of lymph to an area, just so you know that. Blah, 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 blah. At the same time, you know what? Do what makes you feel good. If you want to wear your tight pants with a muffin top, go for it. Sometimes it's worth it. It's worth it to, feel good about yourself. And I do it too sometimes. I'm like, okay. But then when I'm like not in public, I like undo the top. Like when I'm driving my car, I'm like, oh, I don't need this. I need to undo my button, open it up, big spiral, down to the floor. I mean, look at fashion over the years, at all the crazy stuff that people, and it still exists, right? Like ties. Let's choke ourselves. And then corsets. And, I'm in a show where I'm going to be wearing a corset, right? So high heels, all of these things, like what they do to our body on a sort of animal level is bonkers. Okay, we're going to do another movement with this, and we're going to drop, cross it over. You can either just come up a little bit, just push, or you can go into the full arch. Circling down, coming around, drop, cross, up into the arch, right? What our bodies definitely need is more of this opening the front of the body, going into the back bend stuff. And this is a pretty gentle way of getting into that without having to go into full wheel. But here we have pelvis forward, arms back, like part of my body, half of my body is in the full wheel just about. So, and what is a full wheel? Back bend with your hands on the floor. So we could call this tissue prep for a back bend, but it's doing more than that as we're shifting from one, and this is very three-dimensional movement, right? We're moving through all these different ways. It's very spirally. This is giving our body a chance to hydrate and mobilize in maybe novel ways, or maybe ways that we're just not spending a whole lot of time there. Good. Let's let that go. And we're going to recuperate in just regular old forward fold. So taking it down. So for different people, for me right now, this is like, oh, this feels good. But for other people, it might be like, oh my God, it's such a struggle. If that is you and you're feeling like, relax, soften, bend your knees slightly, and just take it forward from there, right? We don't want to be stressing ourselves out about where we are or where we aren't in different positions. So just let yourself go in, knees bent, knees straight, whatever feels good. Maybe move a little bit like you're wriggling into those tight pants. If you've never worn tight pants, imagine what that's like. You know how it takes to get something on? Even just putting on leggings if you're sweaty in the summer can be a challenge. Take it down, breathe, wiggle, and then come back up. Let's do some side stuff. So we're going to do, let's do this one. I like this one. We're going to do this. Now, you could do this with your hip on the floor, right? So if you're feeling like not so much energy, here's an easier way of doing this. If you're feeling good, you're going to be up on your elbow, up on your knee. There's all that space under there, arching back, and then coming in. Open, close. Open, close. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. This is our last one. We're going to swing it around to the other side. If we were in dance class and we were on like a wooden floor without any stickiness underneath us, we could do this like here with both sides of our body, right? On the floor with the sticky isn't the easiest way. So coming up here lets us do that. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Use your breath. Hello, belly button. Last one. And come down. And I want to now roll out my hips again. And I feel like I want to do the same version that we did before, almost. I'm just going to take it to the side. It's a knee drop. And then the other side. So I'll show you this with a different angle. I'm here. And I'm curled, like my body, I'm not lifted up out of it. I'm rounding into it, rolling across my butt. And then I'm going to kind of move around so I get the shear. So it's not just like compression where I'm rolling across something, but it's also shear where that tissue is getting a chance to move like that as opposed to just that, right? So it gives more integrity when we move in different ways, when we try these different things. Change direction, more integrity to the tissue because it's had more three-dimensional work. Shift from side to side. I have a really weird analogy. I'm just trying to think of something that's a good analogy for it. But let's say we have a water balloon, and the water balloon is suspended, and the water is all pooling down here. If we want that water balloon to have that rubber in the water balloon to have integrity for a longer time, if we kind of move it around so that now this part has to stretch, and then this part has to stretch, and then this part has to stretch, that water balloon is going to last longer than if we just hang it in this way for a long time. Like eventually that tissue, the rubber, the fascia, it's kind of a bad analogy. It's also kind of a good analogy, is going to get kind of hard and crusty, right? But if we move it a little bit and the pooling water, because of gravity going down, requires the stretch to happen in different places, then the integrity of that whole balloon is going to be different than if it's just hanging like this the whole time, right? There's a lot of other ways I could think of that analogy, but just to name that, that's why all of this three-dimensional movement where we're changing our relationship to gravity, we're letting the fluid in our body do some of the work. It's like we don't have to do all the work by ourselves. If we just hang out there for a minute, water's going that way, right? If I shift my positions, actually, let's do this because this actually feels good and interesting. So I'm going to take one hand down. I'm going to cross this foot over. Then I'm just going to push out that bottom leg, bring it back down, and then I'm going to switch it to the other side. So this hand is down, this leg is under, this one is across. I'm going to reach and take that leg out, come back down, and then switch. So we could switch like this, reach and push, bring it down to your butt, both legs open, change, come up. Now I could also get this arm going into that reach and push, bringing it down, opening, crossing, reach and push, coming down, opening. I could make it more ballet, more exciting, or it could just be more fitnessy, however you want to. And nobody does this in ballet unless it's contemporary ballet, but just getting that stretch for the adductors through the middle. Open, bring it across, stretch, upper versus lower, and cross body at the same time. Bring it in, open it up. If you're in a tight apartment, I apologize. Reach it out and come back down. So I feel like it's really important if we're taking exercise classes that the exercises that we're doing help us function better in movement, right? If we're just doing a million crunches all the time, is that helping us move, right? In this exercise, there's a whole bunch of movement that you have to do, right? Move, 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 move. Then I could get up. I could have this different ways of getting up and down. Like, I feel like that's so important. And I feel like in the fitness world, it doesn't really exist that much. It does when people do like animal flow classes or Budokan or occasionally yoga flow. Like usually when dancers teach yoga, of course I'm biased, but they're usually the best teachers because they're adding the movement of the transition. It's not just a pose, a pose, a pose. It's a whole flow, right? And really in life, we're not usually just going into a pose, a pose, a pose, right? That is not a pose, it's a pose. Let's open up into a big straddle. Again, circle, wrists and ankles, core distal. Let that movement move into in any way. You can free flow your hands and feet. Doesn't have to stay circles, could be free flow movement. For some reason, my body is doing that, and it seems too hard to make them circular. So I'm just allowing that to happen, but I'm adding in this head tail arching and curling, right? So I want to have my midline, brain, nervous system, peripheral nervous system. This is the central nervous system, out to the edge, peripheral nervous system, but also heart, lungs, lymphatic, to have this inner to outer to inner to outer relationship. That's what's happening in our body. And we want to bring those edges of our body into awareness, into direct communication and aliveness with our center, with our central command. All right, let's take it down. If you are loose, just go. If you are on the tighter side, you're going to lift yourself out of it and just try and get so that you can arch your back a little bit. You can do this more closed and you can do it with bent knees. So that's another option, just doing that. Whatever works for you. I'm going to take it down and hang out there for a couple of breaths. So when you spend more time stretching, you can also, like I can feel like, do I want to stick out a little longer and keep going further here, right? When we think of it from a reductionist sort of scientific way, people are like, well, how long do I need to stretch? And according to Andrew Huberman's podcast, 30 seconds. But that's not really what's happening in a living body. It might be 30 seconds, but it might be, oh, I can get into my maximum stretch in 2 seconds because I'm used to it. My body knows how to respond to that. Or it could be, it's going to take me, 5 years. Just kidding. Bring it in, bang it up and down, rotate in and out. Let that tissue get soft again. So we're not staying in a contraction or an expansion, right? If the tissue is really overstretched, it's hard to then engage it. We want to come back to neutral. And let's take it onto our bellies. Let's go all the way down onto our bellies on the mat. Head on your hands, pushing up and down. So if I were standing, this would be working in the vertical dimension with this up and downness in my body. Let your head and neck free up. So add a little side movement into your upper back and neck so that it's not just this up and down, but you have some spiraling, and free up the neck and shoulders. Let that go. Let's bend the knees, fall from side to side. Allow that to massage through your quads. Relaxed and easy in the lower back, in the glutes, in your hamstrings. Yeah, so glutes, butt muscles, hamstrings, back of the legs, quads, front of the legs, just in case you don't know. Abductors, outer thighs. Adductors, AD, inner thighs. Hands next to your chest. Inhale up and exhale. Try to get your body to do the work. And then once you've gotten as high as you can, add the arms and come a little higher. Filling up your lungs. Using your breath. Oh, the cats have entered the building. Of course, they're. There's the proof. Charging around, up and down. And the next one, if you want, you can bend your knees, toes towards your head, and then release that. And then take it back to a child's pose. Wiggle around, soften your spine, relax your forehead, relax your neck, relax your jaw. And then let's roll that up and come onto hands and knees. Let's do these little pushes up into the hand. So fingertips. You're pushing through your arm and then lowering down. We'll just do them straight without any bend in the elbows for right now. Just pressing up and then coming gently down. Pressing up, coming down. And my fingers are spread out really wide here. Up and down and up. And then we're going to add the bent elbows, if possible, coming down to the floor. If it's not possible to come all the way down to the floor, then just come partway down. Pushing through. Couple more times. Peapod, come here. Peapod. She's ignoring me. She's much more interested in playing with the other cat. Okay, we're going to open a big arm circle on one side, backstroke, and then the other side. Arm circling, opening through the space. Pushing the floor away with the bottom arm. And my knees are kind of wide, and I'm allowing my weight to shift a little bit with that arm circle. Backstroke, swimming through the space. Pushing with the bottom hand to lift the top hand. If that hurts at all, if you've got any rotator cuff issues, make it smaller by just putting your hand on your shoulder. And then let's go the other direction. So a front crawl, circling one way, one arm, and then the other. Chest, lungs, heart, diaphragm, moving. Swimming, swimming, swimming. Good. And then let's go over the back of the hands, fingertips towards you, kind of like a monkey. Let your shoulders really come up to your ears. Wiggling your fingers around. How do we get awareness into an area, right, that might be sort of overused and overlooked? All we got to do is put our awareness onto that area, notice it. Good. And then we're going to do it. There was another way I wanted to do this. How was it? Let's come down here. And you're going to curl your hands in and out. And then rotate in and out. Let this massage through. You can kind of push down with your arms using your body weight and just massage through your forearms a little bit. In our current age of cell phones and computers, right, our hands and fingers are doing a lot of stuff, but it might not always be the most connected in our awareness or in our nervous system. So just maintaining that awareness, that connection. Also, if you're a musician and you play music on an instrument, sometimes we can just think that, hey, my fingers are doing the stuff. If we can get the support of the lungs, of the breath, of the blood flow, of the nervous system, so that we feel that interconnectedness, it will give us more support in our whatever we're doing. Let's open the hands wide, circles with the chest, heart, lungs. So if I were standing, this circle would be in the horizontal plane. Change direction, pushing with the arms. Let your spine have freedom. So as you're doing these circles, you can change your tempo, but notice into what does my head-tail connection want to do? It doesn't have to look like what I'm doing. It could be very different for you. Good, and let's let that go. We're going to come over the wrists again, make monkey hands. If you bring them down, we're going to arch and then curl. Push into your fingers, arch and curl. One more, arch and curl. And then let that go. And let me check the time. Yeah, we've been doing this for a long time. So we're going to come into a hip stretch. Oh, let's do this one, ankle to knee. Let's do it first with one leg straight. So sitting up tall, ankle is past your knee. Take it forward and down. Breathe. Big, deep breathing. Like you're breathing into every cell in your body. Not holding your guts in at all, letting your belly have freedom. Breathing into the expanse of the back. And then come up, unscramble. Oh, he's got his toy. This is his toy. It's one of those little things from the top of a milk container. He loves them. Let's take it down on the other side. Yeah, and he's actually pretty good at playing fetch. He'll usually bring it back for a little while. I think it's usually me who gets bored of it before the cat. Good. And then come up, release it, rotate in and out. Although now he's just laying there. I think it went through the door. Take it to the bent leg position. If you aren't doing the double bend, leave the bottom leg straight and just repeat what we did before. Breathe. Let your head and neck really release. Yeah, Squeaky Deaky is almost a year old now. He'll be a year old in mid-October, and he is over 12 pounds. I think he was like just over 4 pounds when we got him. It's kind of shocking. Change it to the other side. The pea pod is 10 pounds. And of course, Gaylord is a whopping 16 pounds. Breathe. Yeah, his toy went under the door, and now the pea pod has taken over the search to get under the door to grab it. And then come up, unscramble, let it go. Hands on your knees, give them a feel, right? Build the relationship with your body so you know what it feels like. Let me just try it with my other hand. Yeah, my right knee is definitely a little bit bigger than my left. Like I could be going like this and going, yeah, it feels bigger, but it could be the perception of one side of my body. If I go like this and the perception is the same, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, letting yourself massage through any part of your body, but for me, this is one area, especially after ballet, that can get very tight. Basically, for after ballet, the whole lateral part of my body gets a little wonky. All right, let's take that in, slide your feet underneath. We are going to, if your knees are okay and you can be in a squat, you're going to squat, take it forward, and then take it back. Hands can do whatever they need to. If your knees are problematic or not so flexible, just come and shift your weight forwards and backwards in a bent knee position like this, right? Or going down there, knees to the floor, trying to stay parallel through this, and then heels to the floor. Arms doing whatever they need to. And if it doesn't quite touch down, if you're here and here, that's fine. Just go with what you got. I have to share this image again because it's so funny. That's both of them trying to get the thing from under the door. Now Peapod's gone behind it to pop it out. Cat life, because everyone needs more cat life. All right, let's stand up. And we're not going to be quite done yet. We're almost done, but not quite. Let's open up, just big stretch, reach it up, little side. And then we're just going to hit the corners of the vertical plane. Vertical dimension, vertical plane, right? This is a line-ish, and this is a flat two-dimensional surface. So we're going to go, this would probably be your high right, high left, low right, low left. We're hitting the four corners. High right, if I go in front of my door, you can see I'm trying to hit those corners. I'm actually going past them. Reach, reach. And I mean, I could get really, really high and add some releve and then really take it down. Or not. I can also keep it smaller. Our body is very use it or lose it-y. So if we want to be able to bend the knees deeply, we want to keep doing it. All right, so that was our vertical plane. We're going to do the horizontal plane. I'll do it facing away from you. So let's start on the left. We're going to go left forward middle, right forward middle, left back middle, right back middle, left forward middle, right forward middle, left back middle, right back middle, left forward, right forward, left back middle, right back middle. One more. And then we'll do the sagittal in a different way. This toy just went under the couch. Oh, of course, there's a bunch of them under there. I need a stick or something to get them out. We're going to do the sagittal, and I'm going to show it to you from the side. So I'm going to have forward high, forward low, backward low, backward high, forward high, forward low, backward low, backward high, forward high, forward low, backward low, backward high. Same thing on the other side. Forward high, forward low, backward low, backward high. The predominant thing is the forward backward. So it's not like this, it's kind of reaching. We have more forward and backward than we do up, down. Up, down, down, up. One more. Forward high, forward low, backward low. And we could also do this in the other direction. But just to take this one step deeper, this is an icosahedron. And if this is our vertical plane within the icosahedron, these are my two high points, my two low points, vertical plane. This is the horizontal plane, 2 points on one side, 2 points on the other. This is the sagittal plane, 2 points in front, 2 points in back. So if I'm like this, sagittal plane, you can see that that each of these planes is really a big rectangle. It's not a square. That's covered all the points of this. This has 12 points. I'm showing it from the outside. Vertical plane, horizontal plane, sagittal plane. Yeah, so that is the geometric form, the crystalline form that houses, or it's the outer scaffolding of the three planes, right? So anyway, and then we could nestle a cube inside of here, or an octahedron inside of that. All right, that is it. That's my educational segment with Laban Space. Actually, can I go deeper for 1 second? Yes, I can. It's always a question of, do I have the stuff in front of me? So here is a cube, right? This has 3 equal spatial poles, right forward high, left back lower, right forward high, left back low. This is the tetrahedron, 4 sides, very stable. Cube, 6 faces, but 8 points. And then the octahedron has 6 points with 8 faces, right? So that up, down, cross, open, backward, forward scale that we did at the beginning takes place in this. That's a little tiny Laban lesson within an exercise class. And so I'm going to stop the live stream,